Hey, just a heads up, this is chapter 4 of my audiobook, Conversational Relationship Marketing, and if you haven't listened to the previous chapters, I suggest you go back and listen to them in order, because these aren't actually sort of normal episodes of the Client Catching podcast. If you want to go and check out some of the other interviews and regular episodes, please go back through and help yourself. Golden rule number 4. Craft your hook around the end result your ideal client wants. Now, this is all about how to communicate who you help, what problem you solve, and what result you can help someone achieve, and doing it all in a single sentence. Now, for the purpose of LinkedIn, what we're talking about here is your headline, which is essentially a place where you can subtly make your offer, because you craft your offers around the end result your ideal client wants, and therefore you want this to be the first thing somebody sees when they view you on LinkedIn. Now, look, I don't want you to think again that you're pitching here. No, that's not what you're doing. You're leading with the problem you've identified as the most pressing for your ideal client and hinting at how you solve it. So the main aim is just simply to get somebody to think, "Whoa, that's me. I've got that problem. I'm going to read on and find out a little bit more." See, another way to think about your headline is it's like your very own classified ad that will essentially show up every time you appear in somebody's newsfeed, leave a comment, like something, show up in a search, and get displayed in other people's recommendations to connect. Now, you have limited space, a certain number of characters. At the time of recording, that's 120. So you need to make this pop. So create your headline to hook your ideal clients. See, as you've already spent time crafting your dynamite offer, it makes doing this a much easier task, as it's essentially just changing up the format a little bit. See, now you know exactly what problem you solve, exactly who you solve it for, and how you convert this problem into a result. So now you can summarize this in a short statement to use as your LinkedIn headline. Now, I prefer to refer to this as your positioning statement that hooks the interest of your ideal clients. It's a single sentence that describes what you do, who your ideal clients are, and why they hire you. Now, seriously, there is no set way to do this. You can get a little bit creative with it. The main thing is that you just don't use your job title as the only thing that you put in. Of course, you can include this if you have space, but don't make it the focus. Remember, it needs to speak to the problem that you help your ideal client solve and make it easy for someone to know what you do. I'm going to give you a few outline frameworks that you can use and play around with yourself, but ultimately, your LinkedIn headline should communicate the following. I help. Well, who are your ideal clients? Solve this important problem. Why do clients hire you? What difficulty are you helping them to overcome? How you do that? What exactly do you do to solve their problem? Or what do you do to solve their important problem? So it needs just to communicate those few things. So first format, example, I help ideal client get result so that they get outcome without pain. And if you want to include, role at a committee or role at the company or authority position, you can include that. So an example could be, I help accountants create regular deal flow using LinkedIn so they can get more clients without paying for advertising. Speaker, author, CEO. That's one example. Format number 2, authority position, ideal clients, hire me to get result. So this is one straight from one of my LinkedIn headlines. It goes, Client Catching Podcast, B2B and professional service firms hire me to build a 3-part business development system and accelerate revenue growth. Format number 3, this can be a bit more of a generic version. So if you're sort of struggling to be specific and you just want to get something new up, this is a good one to go with. End result customer wants plus specific time period or metric plus address objections. The example is, increase your sales conversion rate by 30% without spending a penny more on lead generation. Format number 4, and the final one, I help ideal client get results, plus add some skills at the end. For example, I help 5 to 15 million pound service-based businesses grow revenue by 30% in 12 months. Business development strategies, B2B growth. Now, you might be thinking, well, cool, but how do I know if I've got this right? Well, My answer probably won't come as a surprise if you've been paying close attention to my think like a fish philosophy. You ask. Now, you can do this in a message to targeted people or as a public post on LinkedIn. And you can use the following framework for either of these. So if you're wanting to do a headline validation message or a post, use this framework. You can start with help needed. I'm taking a bit of time to work on my business by refining my message to be able to quickly communicate who and how I help people. It's really challenging to do myself, so I'd love a bit of help or feedback. Here's what I come up with. And then you put what you've come up with. And then you say something like, look, the feedback I'm looking for is, what do you understand by this? Would it excite you if it's a good fit for your business or your industry? What would you want to have a conversation or recommend me if I told you this? I really appreciate your help. And a little tip is, if you're doing this as a post, just use a cool smiling picture of yourself. Right? Okay, so now you know what you need to use, now you need to know what goes into your headline and why. It's over to you to do it. So the action steps for this is to work on your headline using the above formats. Again, the written version will make this easier and give you somewhere to write as the guideline. You can use the action steps in golden rule number 5, which comes next. Just make sure you read or you listen to the rule first. Then you want to get some feedback and refine. And then you want to add the final version to your LinkedIn profile. And look, as a little bonus for listening or getting the book, when you've updated yours, please do ping me a direct message on LinkedIn. Connect with me if you haven't yet, because I'd love to see what you come up with, and I might even be able to offer a few pointers as well, if you would like it. So it's Mr. Adam King, and I'm on LinkedIn. So that's it for golden rule number 4. On to number 5. Thank you ever so much for listening today. I know there's a lot of podcasts out there you could be listening to. You've chosen this one, and for that I am truly, truly grateful. If you're a first-time listener or a long-time listener and you haven't yet subscribed to the show, please make sure that you do, because you'll get updated of the latest episodes every time they come out. And if, again, you are enjoying it, I'd really, really appreciate a honest rating review on Apple Podcasts. I read every single one personally, and they do really mean the world to me. And yes, they help others find the show. If you're able to do that, again, I massively, massively appreciate it. But until next time, happy fishing.